For Herald sportswriter Manny Navarro, I'm David Furones. We are actually filming from the campus of Miami Northwestern this week for your Eye on the U Insider. 4 downs of hard-hitting topics around the Miami Hurricanes football program. All right, Manny, we start with first down here. Obviously, it's been a very hectic week for the Hurricanes. On all fronts, you have your head coach Al Golden fired after a 58-0 beatdown against Clemson. To make matters worse for the players, and Artie Burns' mother sadly passes away. We are here at Northwestern, his high school alma mater, also where his younger brother Thomas Burns, also a UM commit in 2018, he plays, and we talked to him a little bit today in an interview for our high school video show. And also now you might be down your starting quarterback as Brad Kaya goes through the concussion protocol. Manny, is this team able to recover? You have a game to play against Duke on Saturday.
Yeah, it's an awfully tough week for this team, and you think about everything they've gone through. We talked about it last week, and I've talked about it in other shows and on the radio. This team really believed in Al Golden. He was their guy. All of the players really cared for him. So let's start there. I think first off, emotionally, this is sort of a drained team. You coming off the worst loss that you've had in school history, 58-0 to Clemson, as you mentioned. Then, you get Larry Scott in. Okay, let's get excited about that. Then, Artie Burns' mom passes away. So a 72 hours of hell pretty much for this football team. And, Larry Scott's got a tough job on his hand getting this team up this week to play at Duke, a team that's ranked in the top 25, a team that at this point you would say would have to be favored to win the Coastal Division. And you're not only doing that, but you're doing that without your quarterback, Brad Kaya, your leader on the field. I didn't like the way this offense looked when Brad looked out. I think we all kind of saw just how far the gap is between him and Malik Rozier at the quarterback position. We know they haven't been running the football well. Duke's got a great defense. So, look, I think the #1 job for Larry Scott this week is, look, win or lose, get this team together again. Get them focused and try to finish the season strong, because it's not going to be easy with all these distractions on the outside. I think if you're a Hurricanes fan, what can you expect at this point? Are you going to sit there and kill Larry Scott if they don't win this week? I don't think so. I think the #1 thing, like I said, is get the team back together, and I think they can do that. I think you have a good group of kids down there.
All right, Manny, second down here. You mentioned Larry Scott. He fills in as the interim head coach for the remainder of the season. Now, Blake James, the Board of Trustees, former players, they will all have their opinions inserted into what goes into this next hiring. So, Manny, what are you hearing on that front? Who do you have as the front runners at this time? I know it's early, but at this time for the next head coach at the University of Miami.
Well, if you believe in Las Vegas and the odds makers, Butch Davis is the favorite, right? They're supposed to bring back Butch, and everything's going to be fine and dandy again. Look, I've heard a lot of different names. I think in the long run, it's going to be somebody who has ties to the university, whether it's through a coach, whether it's through coaching, whether it's having played at the university. I think it's going to be somebody who just knows the program. I think the #1 complaint that you heard from fans is, and former players, is, look, Al Golden came in with a scheme defensively that just doesn't fit the players. He doesn't know the neighborhood. He's a New Jersey guy. I think the trustees and the majority of the people around the program are going to want the best coach for the job. Could that end up being somebody from the outside in a head coaching position? Absolutely. You could go out, you could get a Lane Kiffin, or you could go out and get this guy from Memphis, or the coach at Houston who used to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. You can go out and get those guys to bring them in and be a head coach. But I think in the long run, what you need somewhere, either in coordinator spots or in assistant coaches, you need guys that know the program, know the Hurricane way, and I think that's what's going to end up happening. I had a source of mine who is pretty good who told me that the one positive to come out of all of this, okay, is that they are going to spend money on their next head coach. I was told that the trustees and the people around the university have the money to pay for a new head coach, upwards of $4 million. There's only 16 coaches in college football this season who are making $4 million or more based on salary. So, that means you're going to get an elite football coach. Now, just because he said that to me doesn't mean it's going to happen. We know the history of the Hurricanes. Al Golden was making $2.5 million. His buyout, from what I've been told, was around $7 million to get rid of him this season. He still had 4 years left on his contract. So I don't know. I don't know who to really trust, but that's what I was told. I'm reporting what I was told. So hopefully, the most important thing to me is go out, spend money on a quality head coach, and then pay his assistant coaches. Get good assistant coaches in here, good coordinators, guys that are going to be able to run what you want and make the most out of the talent here in South Florida.
Essentially, learn from your mistakes from previous hires. Manny, we shift gears here now. A third down. So the team is now 1-2 in the ACC. Still, you're not mathematically eliminated from Coastal play. I know fans don't want to hear that right now. You just lost a game 58-0 inside the conference, but it wasn't Coastal. It wasn't in the division. But realistically, they could still run through the Coastal Division and make a run at the postseason, at an ACC championship game berth. But right now, what are realistic goals? You have to figure you're taking it one game at a time. Larry Scott is coming in brand new, and right now he's just trying to get through this week and then just take it step by step. Yeah. What are some realistic goals from here on out?
I think you throw out the Coastal. I think at this point you look at your players and you say, look, what are we really going to benefit from this season, especially with Brad Kaya being down? I think the number one thing you benefit is bowl practices. So to me, win 2 out of your last 5 games, get to a bowl game, be bowl eligible, get those 15 extra practices, and get the kids together and get them believing, so that when the new head coach comes in, hopefully at the beginning of December or early in December like Golden was, you get a coach who's able to see the way things are sort of working, to get to know the roster a little bit. You don't want the season to end with 5 wins or 4 wins. Just win 2 more games, make it into a bowl game somehow, extend the season. That to me is the number one goal.
The good thing is Golden is leaving a solid foundation where the next coach can build upon. There is talent on this team, and you could build from there.
All right, David, so we're going to flip it on you. You fire your head coach. We heard about Swag 16 and all the other cool little nicknames that were given the recruiting classes. Only 1 recruit's decommitted so far, as we're filming this. Amon Richards, the receiver. Talk about what that loss means, and overall, give me an idea of what do you think's happening with this recruiting class. What are they saying? Are they really going to stick to the Hurricanes, regardless of who the head coach is? What's sort of going on with these kids?
Yeah, so Amon Richards decommits, and it is a bit of a big loss. That's a talented receiver over in Wellington. If you take a look at his stats, I mean, the guy puts up monster yardage, touchdowns. You know, you have to factor in the competition he's playing against. But long, athletic receiver and fast. You know, he could do it all from that position. The good thing is most of the guys are still intact here. Most of the class is still intact. You have Sam Bruce going out and tweeting that he didn't commit to no coach. He's standing firm. Deontay Mullins expressed similar sentiments. Several others. With Bruce, he even went as far as saying as long as KB, Kevin Beard, the wide receivers coach, is there, he's going to be there. KB, of course, one of Bruce's mentors growing up, and also coached them at university school when they were both there together. Aside from that, there are some guys that may be wavering a little bit. I don't want to use the word wavering, but at least contemplating. They want to take a look at who's going to be the next coach. You know, Josh Uche is a defensive end out of Columbus. He has other options. He had Alabama and Florida come after him after he committed to UM. So he's thinking about it right now. Zach McLeod, he's going to be an early enrollee, so he doesn't have much time after the coach is hired to really figure things out. But he'll assess that situation and figure out what he wants to do. And aside from that, then the classes are staying intact, and you have to like that a lot of these players are here for the program, and not so much that they were here committed to Golden. They were committed to Golden, but and they might be upset about it, but they're staying committed for now.
Well, interesting situation. Be sure to follow everything we put out there on Twitter. David does a great job covering recruiting for us. I, of course, am covering the Miami Heat now, so Susan Miller-Degnan will be doing most of the Hurricanes reporting, although I will be out there. I will keep my eye on the U, as I've said before. Anyway, for David, I'm Manny Navarro. We'll see you next week.